recording. So the session today is entertainment. So sort of fun things that we can do on our laptop or desktop. And I know we've had a rather infamous incident of trying to go to YouTube a couple of weeks ago, so we've already kind of been there. But I I would encourage anyone if you haven't really used it very much, if you want to know about something, if you want to find a tutorial of how to do something, I'm gonna 99.9% of the time, someone else has already created one and you can find it on YouTube. It's really astounding to me. I don't think I've ever stumped it. You can find find almost anything at this point on YouTube. But it's a free content sharing site where people can publish their own videos and watch others. And because it's free, I think that's been one of the reasons why it's just taken off. But there's a lot of content on there and some of it's rubbish, but I will trust you to know your good sorting skills. Gaming is something that a lot of people enjoy to do on their device. And I think there's kind of like two sectors, if you will, people who play video games or gamers, and some people refer to that as gaming. And you can do it with just your laptop, but also there's other devices like an Xbox or I don't even know. I don't get into that, so I really don't know too much about the different devices that they have. But everyone I think knows what a video game is. And then there's other sorts of more traditional games that you can also find online, like as I have listed here, Mahjong or Solitaire, Crossword. There are adult connect the dots. I have some links that I'll pop in the chat before we end here that can take you to some sites where you can get some free gaming content. A lot of sites that have a subscription will have some games. I know I've mentioned I subscribe to the Times, and they have a nice selection of games. I think that, the New York Times is pretty famous for their crossword, but they also have an adult connect the dots, and they have another game called Tiles. There's one more that I can't think of right now, but they do say that working puzzles is a good way to stay mentally sharp. I wouldn't look at it as a sort of time waster. It really can be a bit of a brain boost. And I was interested to note through the course of this RPG role player games and LARP communities, live action role play. These groups have moved online, and if you think that doesn't have anything to do with you, I would say that people who do Civil War reenactments are a type of LARP, in my opinion, live action role play. And more seniors, I found another article, and I'll put the link in the chat, are getting into the gaming community. It's there's a lot of games that have an online community that you can actually connect with other people. You can play the games electronically together and be in different places. So it can be a way to make connections with other people if it's something that you're interested in. Streaming services. This has kind of become the de facto way that we're getting a lot of entertainment content. There's music streaming services, there's podcast, and there's TV and film. And it's sort of, you have to have an internet connection. Many of them have the option where you can download the content to watch later offline. Um, and a lot of streaming services have a free version, but if you want to get the full use of the product, there's generally a monthly fee, and oftentimes as well, there's an annual subscription that would be a little bit cheaper than paying month by month, but you also have to do that bulk sum. Um, and you have access to this copywritten content, but only while you have the subscription. So, for example, I have a Spotify account. That's kind of my music streaming service. And I've downloaded many albums onto my phone. But if I were to cancel my Spotify account, I would no longer, even though I've downloaded them, I would no longer have access to that content. I don't really own it, I'm renting it. The reason for downloading it is that then while I have the subscription active, I can access that content even if I'm not connected to the internet. So that's the purpose for that. And a lot of times there's bundling of different platforms together. I'm sure you've seen ads for that at a bit of a discounted rate, but can get a little crazy to think about subscribing to all these services, in my opinion. These are some of the big ones for accessing movies, film, as well as TV shows. And they're all a little bit different. I'm sure you've heard of these: Disney Plus, HBO Max, Hulu, Netflix, Prime Video, and then YouTube again, getting in on the action of streaming services. But they all offer something a little bit different, something that I've known maybe like a family to do, if, of adults. If each individual has one subscription, then that they pay for, then people can share the passwords between a group of people, a family group. And that's one way to be able to have access to the different service, because a lot of it is proprietary. For example, everyone I think probably heard of Baby Yoda at some point, as we had this Star Wars series that came out in the past handful of years. And that can only be viewed on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian, that new series with Baby Yoda. So if you don't have a Disney Plus account, or if if you don't have a friend's house you can go to watch it, you can't see it. Same with, there's also some things that are only on HBO, etc. But that's kind of how that works. Some of them offer no commercials, like Netflix doesn't really have commercials, but Hulu has some things that you watch on Hulu are with, and some are without. So they definitely, that's part of Hulu, is one of the cheaper subscription services, but they kind of make up for it with the advertising. I wanted to kind of mention on this last line where for YouTube TV, it kind of breaks down the different options that they have there. They have live TV offered, on-demand video, and that simply means that they have a library of films that you can pay extra to access, and it's usually for like a given time period. But you can just pay that extra fee, something like $3.99, maybe $1.99, to watch a certain film. And then they also have this cloud-based DVR service. So what that means is that it's similar to the physical DVR that some of us had in our homes, or may still, But on this, you can record more content simultaneously because it's all being stored in the cloud. Again, it's at some point it seems like, when will I ever watch all of these things that I'm recording? I don't get too far into it, but yeah, it's there. And YouTube Live is kind of a nice way to access those the big four. That's CBS, NBC, ABC, and oh geez, sorry, it's not coming to me. But the main channels that you would kind of, back in ye olden time, right? Think of turning on your dial on your television to access, as well as PBS. So YouTube TV rather, can kind of take over for basic television content. These are some of the, I'm sorry, did someone say something?
I had a question. It's
Please.
Lola. I had my hand up. Can I ask you a question about the previous? Can I ask you a question about the previous screen?
Sure. Do you want me to pull it back up?
Please. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry.
So, thanks.
No problem.
Thank you. So I'm thinking of getting rid of my television. Mm-hmm. So all of these are options to use through my computer?
That's correct.
Okay, and okay, I thought they were all hooked up to TV. Don't ask me why I thought that.
Well, I mean, people would normally watch them through a television. There's different devices that, like a Roku and a Fire Stick and like all these kind of casting devices. But you can still access it as long as you can download the app onto your device, then you can access it.
So I can also do it through my phone, because
yes.
I bought the Apple device that you can actually plug your phone into the TV, watch it on your TV screen. Mm-hmm. Apple makes it so I could actually get Hulu or Netflix, have the app on my TV, on my phone, and then plug it into my TV and watch it on my TV.
That's correct.
Okay, I don't know what. So do I need a Roku stick or a what did you call it, a Fire Stick?
There's a Roku and a Fire Stick.
Do I have to have them?
I do not know the answer to that off the top of my head, but I can look into it, Ms. Farron.
Appreciate that, because I don't understand what's dependent on what. A lot of the TV shows, at least locally, you can just get the app and put it on your TV. I mean, on your phone. I can watch it through my phone.
So
okay. Mm-hmm.
YouTube TV does those main channels, those main 4 TV channels. I have to know what that other one is because I can't think of it. I just was interested in actually Netflix of all of these. And I don't understand when you have to get, I always thought Roku was attached to a television. I had to use a television to use a Roku or a Fire Stick. I think that you do have to cast it on. Those you have to cast onto a TV. But I can still get Netflix without a Roku and a Fire Stick.
Oh. Hello.
Hello.
I don't know. I'm confused.
Was somebody about to jump in there?
Yeah, I hear what she's saying about the Roku. I have a Fire Stick and I connect it to the TV, right? And then in the Fire Stick, they have different apps that they have inside of it. So if you have Netflix on your phone and you tap on Netflix in the Fire Stick, they'll ask if you're already a subscriber or you want to be a new subscriber. But you're already a subscriber on your phone. So you just put in your passcode. You email your passcode and it'll open up in your TV. And then once you do that, you wouldn't have to redo it again unless you
I
Can't
see.
see.
So I don't have to get it on the TV. I can get it through the phone.
Yeah, well, I watched Netflix through the phone before I had the
I
Fire
didn't
Stick.
know that. Okay.
Because
So I
that's the
don't.
first place I got it was on the phone.
So can I ask you why you bought a Fire Stick or a Roku? Why you bothered with that?
Well, I bought a Fire Stick just to see what it was like, and other people was telling me to buy it. And then once I bought it, in the Fire Stick, they have a lot of free stuff that you can watch.
I don't need all that. I just know for me at this time, it's
Mhm.
too much stuff. So thank you very much.
Yep. Mhm.
I had another question about what you made about PBS. I tried to get PBS, the app on my phone, and then watch it on my TV through that Apple device. And PBS, if you really want the complete PBS, you have to pay for it through PBS. And I would probably, it's about it was at this time about a year ago, $5 a month to get the complete program from PBS. The app itself did not offer you everything. So I just thought I'd spread the word.
That is often the case, that there'll be a free, you can get the free app and you get some of the features. But if you want all of it, you'll have to pay. Now, with that YouTube Live, and this is in most markets, there's definitely some variation around the country, but that bundles the big four, and the other one is Fox, PS, that I couldn't think of. ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, and PBS all together, and that's going to be, to my knowledge, the full availability for PBS through YouTube Live. Doing it piecemeal like that doesn't surprise me that you would have to pay extra to get the full content. You're gonna have to pay at some point. You're gonna have to pay somebody at some point to get access to all of it. You know what I'm saying?
Rebecca?
Yes.
I don't watch any.
One of the benefits of the Fire Stick is a lot of people have Amazon Prime. So if you're already a subscriber to Amazon Prime and you get the Fire Stick, there's a benefit of that fee being included in your Prime membership. So that's one of the reasons a lot of people went with the Fire Stick, is because they were Amazon Prime members also.
Okay.
If you're an Amazon Prime member, you could use Roku and it's the same deal. You don't pay anything extra. I mean, a Fire Stick and a Roku are nothing more than teeny tiny little computers.
Yep.
Just sort of like your computer itself, you could log on to these shows like Netflix or Amazon Prime. The little sticks, they're just teeny little computers, and they receive the internet signal, the movie. And I think the Apple TV is the same thing. It's just another device that goes between picks up the internet and sends it to the TV, so you could watch internet programs on the television itself, as opposed to getting the signal through cable or getting the signal through the old-fashioned way, an aerial, which some people still use, digital aerials, and they work actually.
And I think too, like, the other thing about having an external device is that there are so many, like the Fire Stick or the Roku, like there's so many different services that are offered. And if you were thinking to try to get them all, like to download all of those on your phone or your another device would take up like so much memory, that I think that was part of like, and in an essence, and I think Ms. Farron, that this is kind of what you're getting, like all these bells and whistles and extra stuff. Like I also feel the same way. Like I don't need all that. But some people, are big consumers of content, and they want to have access to all those different formats. So,
Rebecca, can I say one other thing?
Please.
Some people, not everyone has a smart TV. So some of the applications you need to know if you have a smart TV or if you just have a flat screen. So just as a word to the wise.
That's true too. Yes.
Oh.
So you may or may not be able to, there's this casting thing that where you can, so you have the content on one device, say your phone, and then you can cast it onto the television. We're actually talking about that in tomorrow's session. But if your television can't receive that casting, if it's not, doesn't have the capacity, so you wouldn't be able to obviously do it. And yeah, that smart TV is part of the factor. Art, were you about to say something?
Well, I don't know, for the TV industry, I don't know how many different smart TVs there are. I know I bought a smart TV a couple of years ago. I wasn't even looking to buy a smart TV. I just wanted one that size, a small screen, and it turned out to be a smart TV. But all it is, it has a little Roku built into it. A lot of this, I think a lot of the smart TVs that are out there have a Roku, and you either go to Roku, or you can go to, again, you could select any source of content that you might have access to. So you could use the Roku if you're connected to the internet, or you could use the cable if you're connected to cable, or again, you could use an aerial if you're connected to an aerial. But I'm not quite sure what the other smart TVs might be connected to. Now, maybe if it's Amazon is in the TV business, maybe they have something for, for their, Janetta, what is it that Amazon uses? What do they call, there's a Fire Stick?
Yeah, it's the Fire Stick.
Okay, so then maybe, so it's just, it's got a lot of flexibility if you have the patience to just kind of go through it and make your selections. The other thing is with PBS, you don't really have to pay for it if you give them a donation. It's a charitable organization. It's a nonprofit organization, and they give you the passport is what you're talking about. They call it passport, where you can have access to all of their programming, their inventory of all programs. And we've been donating to them for years because we think as a public broadcast, we're very big supporters of public broadcasting. And they have some great shows, as long as you can get used to an English accent. A lot of them are British productions, but really high class, high quality acting.
It's a good point. And I think the thing, like Ms. Farron was talking about getting rid of the television, I myself do not personally own a television. And so what I've found trying to access PBS content is that it can be a little challenging. Like if you don't have the TV, it's not necessarily just free on the internet. I was trying to find a certain program that and it's been a while ago now, and I don't remember the name, but I was having trouble accessing it. They have some things on YouTube, but yeah, if you have a television, which most people do, PBS is something that you can access.
Hey, Rebecca?
Yes.
Hi, this is Mel. I had a few questions. One is, have you ever heard of IPTV?
No.
And
what is it?
It's supposed to be a free streaming service, or it's a very cheap streaming service. And you can get quite a few apps on it.
I'm looking at
so I guess this is within that IPTV, there's so many different streaming services in it.
internet protocol television,
Yep. Mhm.
watch IPTV from your internet service provider, or free live TV channels from any other source in the web.
Mhm. Yeah, someone was telling me about that. I said I would ask Rebecca.
Delivery of television, I've got Wikipedia here. The delivery of television content over internet protocol IP networks. This is in contrast to delivery through traditional terrestrial, as you were talking about, aerial,
Uh-oh.
satellite and cable television formats. IPTV offers the ability to stream the source media continuously. As a result, client player can begin playing the content almost immediately. I don't know what that, I don't know if they're saying like you can watch it anytime, so you don't have to be there like at 8 o'clock to see the show.
He told me that he got rid of his cable like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. He got rid of cable, kept the internet, and all he watches is IPTV. And a lot of the HBOs and Showmax and Cinemax and all that's on there.
Huh.
Yeah, so he completely got rid of his television. And then there's another one called Peacock TV. Have you guys heard of that one?
Yeah.
They have a lot of free streaming videos and movies.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think Peacock is part of CBS.
Yeah, I think it's CBS or something like that. So the other one is the Amazon Prime. Someone told me that you could get the Amazon Prime with their direct card.
With the direct card. I'm not familiar with the direct card.
Okay. And the other one was the games.
What is
About
it?
the games. Say again, please.
Well, I'm sorry, what is it? The direct card.
The food card that the people get, the monthly food stamp.
Okay. Like EBT direct.
Right, EBT, yeah. And
Okay.
you can get the Amazon Prime with using your direct card. Anybody heard of that? No?
I've seen it on there. You can.
You can? Okay.
Yes. Yes. I don't know if it's a full, it's like a discounted rate.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it gives you the full features of having a Prime account or not. I mean,
Right.
you know, I don't know, like all the extra like video and stuff like that.
And that's what I told her. I said, I don't know about that because some of the streaming services, if you don't pay everything, you don't get the full features.
Right.
Yep. And the other one was you mentioned the games at the beginning. Have you
Yeah.
guys seen games that you play and they pay you to play the games?
I have not.
That's good. How do you do that?
You haven't seen that, Al? They have games that you download and play and they pay you money. How is that really working? You know, one game was like $2 a day. One lady said she won $200 in a week. I'm like, you see a lot of the pop-ups that come up with that. It's like, is this really legit? I mean, what is going on with this?
6 games and apps that pay real money.
Mhm.
Swagbucks, My Points, Missed Play, Publishers Clearinghouse, Long Game, and Giveling. I've never heard of this.
Mhm.
What will they think of next?
I'm like, I see these deals. I'm like, really? People winning money? You sit at home and win $200 a week. You know, I didn't know if anybody's ever heard about that before.
No.
Hmm.
I also looked up about the smart TV, and it looks like they're dividing them on the way that the screen is. So smart TVs may be categorized into LCD, LED, and OLED smart TVs. It's a liquid crystal display or an LED or light emitting.
Yeah. So with the smart TV, when you buy products for it, you have to make sure they're smart, they're compatible with the smart TV.
Yeah.
That could be a cost.
All right. Anything else on this one that anyone would like to throw in?
The only thing I can tell you is one of the things that's done a lot, and I think during the pandemic, really done a lot. There's a game you could play on the internet called Words with Friends.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Anybody play that? It's like Scrabble. I don't do it because I don't know how to spell. But
I got a sister that plays that a lot.
But my wife, who does know how to spell, thank goodness, that's why I married her. I think she can hear me. She plays it a lot, and it's a lot of fun. You can also play friends, and you can also play against the computer. But I guess it really gets used a lot on the internet. Words with Friends, it's called.
Words with Friends.
Words with Friends, yeah.
Maybe pop that in the chat.
Yeah, they plays it a lot.
If I knew how to spell, I would. Hang on.
I can do it once I come out of
I'll
the
do it.
presentation. I'm going to press on to music. These are some of the major providers. There's others, and it, you know, depending on what you're looking for, it's the same principle that it's a streaming service. So you're renting the content, if you will, and you can download for offline use, but you only have access to that while you're in the subscription, paying for the subscription. So many people used to have iTunes. When streaming services started, Apple did away with iTunes because they wanted to get in on the game. So they created their Apple Music, which isn't the same because it's not quite the same as the iTunes library as the way that used to be. But this has become the way to do this streaming. You know, I think there's pros and cons. One thing that I love about it, I mentioned I have Spotify, is that I can find pretty much any song or artist is in their library. I'm sure there are some that are not, you know, someone maybe a little lesser known. But for my intents and purposes, anything that I have looked for, I've been able to find on there. And so I have access to hundreds of thousands of songs and albums that I don't have to go out and actually buy the CD, right? Like back in the day. So that's kind of the cool thing, is that you have access to this enormous library of content. But you do have to pay for it on a monthly basis. And some of them, like I said, they have the yearly subscription that you can buy. I tend to use this on my phone, but I could certainly see also using it from a laptop or a desktop even. And they have sort of different features. So Apple Music is specific to Apple products. There are some other outside devices that you can theoretically download it to, but from what I've read, it's kind of glitchy if it's not on an Apple product. Amazon has a music service, if you have Prime, that you can get for an additional fee. Pandora was one of the first streaming services to come out. And it has a feature where you kind of plug in the artist that you know you like, and it'll play you a couple tunes from that person or group. And then it suggests other artists that are similar. So if you're like in a certain genre, and maybe if you're not a big music buff and you don't know exactly who you want to listen to, Pandora can be a nice option because it just sort of auto suggests for you. Tidal is supposed to have the best sound quality, although they do have a smaller library. And then YouTube also has a streaming service, YT Music. And that one is unique in that it has access, if there's a video that's been uploaded to YouTube, which almost every artist uploads their video to YouTube when they have a single come out, that video is available to be watched while you're streaming the song. So if you're interested in that visual component, YT Music can be a nice choice that way. And they let you download albums, create playlists, have a favorites playlist, most of these services. Does anyone have any experience with another music streaming service that they'd like to share?
This is Mel. I just put in music I want on YouTube. So if I want to listen to Cochran and Company, I put Cochran and Company in, and all their music pop up. You know,
Yes.
you want to listen to Kenny Rogers, just put Kenny Rogers in there, and all his music will pop up. So if I had a radio station, I put 99.5 The Fish. Look that up in the Apple Store and put that on.
Where?
Say it again, please. Where? You know how you go to Google? You go to Google or your search engine, and you put in the person you want to hear, and they'll pull it up.
Yeah, you can do it. I've done that.
Yeah. Or
you can do that on Alexa too.
Yeah, Alexa, yeah.
So
Right.
the
You put up
thing,
search.
and
that's
you
on the
can, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over you. I'm sorry, Mel, I didn't mean to talk over you.
That's okay. Yeah. So I'm just saying, you know, you don't have to really stream a service. You can just look on YouTube, basically, on the search engine and find almost anything you want to find.
You know, and you can. One thing about doing it that way, and on a laptop or a desktop, that would certainly work. One thing about trying to do that on a phone or a smaller device, once you minimize YouTube, the music stops. And they did that on purpose so that people wouldn't be able to just use YouTube for free. Right. Because you can make playlists and save favorite videos on YouTube.
You have to pay for some though on Alexa.
Yeah, well, I don't save any of them, but usually it'll say, "Are you there? Are you still listening?" And you just go yes or no, and then let it keep playing.
You feed in something.
I just look it up.
Some of it's only available on pay.
But so far, with anything that
You gonna say anything about that?
I think on a laptop or a desktop that can certainly that can work well. You can just pull it up, but as soon as you on a phone, as soon as you minimize the YouTube screen, it stops the sound.
I don't know about that.
Music.
I play it all the time on my phone. That's the only place I've been listening to it, on the phone. And sometimes when I go to search for something else, it'll minimize a little box, and it'll still be playing unless I click on something new or cut it off. And the videos usually come one after another. But so far, I haven't had that problem.
Rebecca?
Yes.
We use Alexa all the time for music. And you know, she's talking to me now. We don't have to touch anything. You just talk to it and tell them what you want and it plays. If you get something like Andre Rieu or classics or something like that, it'll play all day practically.
Yeah. Thank you. That's another good option, Alexa.
Yeah, again, that's Amazon though. They have a Fire Stick or something. Get that or device.
There's another.
You gotta have the device.
But they're reasonable. It's we got in fact the little ones, the little what are they called? Dots. They're only $30.
Okay.
We got all our grandkids dots, and they can listen to all their music.
You call it dots? You said
it's called a dot, D-O-T. And then we have the bigger one. I forget. I think it's just called Alexa.
Oh yeah, you can buy the Alexas. Yeah, separate. Yeah,
we got that one, but our kids got that for us. But that wasn't that expensive. I think it was $60.
Right.
But it just sits, in between our living room and the kitchen and dining room, and I can hear music throughout the house all day long.
Yeah.
Right? And you can take it outside too.
Yep. Yeah, but I've never had problems on my phone because that's why I first started listening to music on the phone and YouTube.
Because I'm actually I'm trying to see, for me, when I minimize the screen stops
Mhm.
for when I'm on the YouTube app on my phone.
Right.
And then also the commercials.
Yeah.
So that's another, like, a lot of, I forgot to mention that previously, a lot of the services for streaming music, particularly, if you get the free version, there's definitely advertising that you can't skip over. So yeah, that's the trade-off with having the free version.
Well, I like the commercials because I learn a lot from them.
Well, there you go.
So offer it in commercials. So you miss out on that. You're missing some things. But I've got a lot of games, a lot of movies just watching commercials
Hmm.
that you wouldn't ordinarily see.
That's a point.
Alexa,
Mhm.
I think one of the benefits of downloading is when you're entertaining, you don't have to stop and answer questions and restart and all that. So I think that's one of the big benefits if you're doing a lot of entertaining. It's just continuous, where, like you said, you don't have to stop and do you want to continue? Yes, or hit something on the screen.
There you go. You say with Alexa.
Right. You know,
Yeah.
let them plan.
Great.
Mm.
The last area, I believe, yeah, this is the last one. Talking about podcasts. I know I heard some people have said, like, I don't really know what a podcast is. What is a podcast? And it's almost, to me, to describe it, if you're a person who likes to listen to any kind of talk radio, then I think that you might find some podcasts that you would enjoy, because it's just basically someone talking or multiple people talking about a given topic. And you can find a podcast on anything that you're interested in, pretty much. These are apps that all, and many of them can be accessed just through a browser window on your laptop or desktop computer, that offer multiple podcasts. Some of them are paid services, some of them are free. Apple comes for Mac products and it's free. Google Podcasts are also free. There's a couple that are proprietary to a given service, much like some of the films. There's been something that's been heavily marketed here recently. Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen created a podcast together that's exclusively available on Spotify. So there's things like that, but a lot of them can be found just on Apple or Google Podcasts. And it's totally free. And so you can just listen to the content that you're interested in all day long. I subscribe to several, and I have, like, a lot of them are news, different news programs that I listen to throughout the day. So if you're a person who, used to always have NPR on, I think that you would enjoy podcasts. And there's many shows that are on NPR, and NPR has their own little app that they feature many of their podcasts on, but you can also find them on, like, Google Podcasts or Apple. The other ones, to be honest, I have not used. I've often heard of, oh, this is supposed to be, that's not, I think that's Stitcher. I'm pretty sure there's an extra T in there at the bottom of the list. I've heard of that one a lot. I don't have, I haven't personally used it. Would anyone like to share anything about podcasts that they've
But Rebecca, I was wondering what do you think the best podcast service to get?
Well, you guys know me at this point. I'm so Google products, and I use Google Podcasts. There's a couple that I access through my Spotify account as well. And And I've done things like a Google search, like what are the best podcasts about, I'm just throwing out a random topic, fly fishing, whatever it is. And you're going to get a search result list that gives you several different, hits of popular podcasts about a given topic. And then I'll just kind of check them out. I'm kind of like, I know pretty straight away, like I know if I like the sound of the person's voice. I'm the kind of person too, like if a book hasn't grabbed me by like 3 pages, 5 pages in, I put it down. So I kind of know straight away if I want to, interact with that content or not. But yeah, just take a listen.
Well, I've listened to podcasts. We have a friend
Yeah.
that she does a Zoom meeting once a month, and she pulls a podcast out, and we watch the podcast. And then it's like a book discussion. We discuss the podcast after we listen to it.
I have rarely stumped Google Podcasts.
Mhm.
And the only time that I haven't been able to find something on there is when it's proprietary content to another service, like
Okay.
that Barack Obama, Bruce Springsteen one is only on Spotify.
Okay. So I don't know where she gets it from, but she loads it up and we watch it and then we discuss it afterwards.
And
So,
I know you have an Android.
Yeah. Mhm.
So yeah, you could just,
Do the Google podcast.
yeah, you could download the app. It might even already be on there on your phone. It might have come preloaded. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, but podcasts are great. We enjoy it every month, listen to it.
Same. I was a person, back in the day before all the current technology that I had NPR on a lot throughout the day. And if anyone remembers Diane Rehm, she has a weekly podcast now because she left her daily radio show. It's called On My Mind. And I enjoy that a lot. But yeah, I was a person to have NPR on a lot. So I'm a podcast person myself.
Rebecca,
Yes.
I think Cleveland Clinic does podcasts too for various topics.
Do they?
I think they're called podcasts. I'm assuming I've seen a couple of them a long time ago. I haven't looked at anything recently, but they tend to have those for education.
I'm looking it up in my Google Podcasts and see what comes up. Okay, there's a bunch. Cleveland Clinic Health Talk Podcast.
Right.
There's a bunch. Now some of these are from 2017. Sometimes you'll see that too, that something ran for like a certain amount of time. Oftentimes people will tackle a topic in a podcast series and there may be like 8 or 9 to kind of go through whatever it is. I listened to one recently that was, it was kind of challenging because it was tough subject matter. The podcast series is called Through the Cracks. And they focused for the season on the story of there was a young girl named Relisha Rudd who was disappeared out of the DC shelter network. And it was kind of a notorious case. So that one was a little heavy, but it was very well done. And it explored a lot of the systemic issues that people face around housing and secure housing and resources. And so it was it wasn't like a sensational in any way. It was really exploring like deeper issues. But so you'll see that like it might just have for a point of a set point of time that it'll be like a series of podcasts. And then some are ongoing.
I know we were invited to watch a podcast. I don't know if it's a podcast. I mean, there was a woman giving a lecture, a doctor from University Hospital giving a lecture about strokes yesterday. It was for about an hour long. And she had charts and things. So a podcast could be visual as well as verbal. I always thought podcasts were just
it's just audio, but sometimes there might be some kind of presentation like that, and they'll record the audio and then publish that as a podcast.
Hmm.
So it can be a presentation like that, sort of what you're talking about, or it can be a conversation amongst people. I think that, to my understanding of how it kind of started, was this way to DIY, right? Like just develop something, pop it on the internet, not have the restrictions like you would on radio or some other kind of service. So you don't have the, have to go by guidelines. And I think it was just a way for people to kind of just, easily, quickly, in a free way, get their content out to the world. And then it caught on. And so then, follows suit, like all the big names that are now have podcasts too.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, I mean, I wouldn't know for sure, but I have a feeling that there are some extreme groups that have podcasts. One of the ways to communicate with their members,
Oh, I'm sure.
organizing things like the January 6th event. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's good and bad to every bit of technology if it's
And
used wrong.
that's the thing with the internet, right? That it's kind of that buyer beware.
Well, it's wild and uncontrolled.
Yeah.
It's, unless companies like Facebook, try to, which they haven't historically done a good job of. Now, all of a sudden, they decided that they're going to limit certain people from being members. That's going to be an interesting case.
Yeah. It's being reviewed on some platforms. I'm sure you're.
Well, they've got this incredible group of people that run the world, that serve as a committee to make the decision on whether or not dropping certain people is appropriate or not.
I am popping in the chat right now some links that I found. These are for games. Those first three that I popped in are will take you to a website that has different content. The AARP, they have some free, but for the full access, you'd have to get the membership. I think it's like $12, but it's not entirely free. And then the last one that I'm going to pop in is an article about